Can start, sir.
Okay. Unable to depict camera.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. On behalf of Gujarat State Branch, I am Dr. Atul Gandhi, Honorary Secretary of Gujarat State Branch NSS. I welcome you all. Within few minutes, Dr. Naveen Malhotra, sir, Honorary Secretary National, will be joining the meeting. Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala is a pediatric orthopedic surgeon and National Orthopaedic Society President. Welcome you, sir. Our third speaker, Ms. Arpita Gupta, she will deliver the lecture on finance. I welcome you, our seniors, our participants, and my colleagues. I welcome you on behalf of Gujarat State Branch. Today, our webinar is important and day-to-day life as we earn money and we keep money in rotating in our day-to-day practice. I feel pride, pleasure to our respected Dr. Naveen Malhotra sir and Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala with us in spite of their busy schedule. Thank you, sir. ISA Gujarat State Branch are always being vibrant and proactive in arranging such webinars. In spite of the medical education is going on and number of seminars is there. So we focus on the other aspect of our life, the happiness. The detail will be given by introduction given by later on. So once again, I welcome you all. Now I invite Dr. Dhiren Desai. I invite Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala. He is basically a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. He is a current president of Indian Society of NSS, president of Orthopaedic Society. He has a vast interest in field of developing leadership in professional bodies. He is also chair of Leadership Development Committee of Indian Academy of Cerebral Palsy. For any professional person, it is important to have a soft skill along with the subject skill. He conducts many workshops and webinars to develop the area also. Today, he is going to speak on the subject of happiness. Most of us believe that creating the wealth makes us happy, and for that, we work very hard. How correct is it? Let us is our assumption. Now, I invite Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala for that clarification and explaining about the happiness. Welcome you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right, I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening and warm welcome. First of all, my sincere appreciation to the association and all the viewers from Ahmedabad, from Gujarat, outside Gujarat, and there are few people who are going to join from outside India also. So once again, the special gratitude to OrthoTV and the Anesthesia TV for making this program available to a large audience. The first of all, disclosure and the disclaimer. I have no financial attachment to any body. For this lecture, there is no one supporting this lecture. So whatever I am saying is basically my own personal view. It's not biased by any financial gain. The disclaimer is that I don't say that I know the subject 100%, and I am also saying that I am not a spiritual leader. I am not a philosopher. In my life, in my professional life also, I have tried to understand this subject about the happiness, and whatever I have understood that I'm going to share with you. Let me say that we all want to be happy. There is a lot of research going on in this subject, but still the understanding of medical science about the happiness is something like a story which we know. The 5 blind people, when they are trying to touch the elephant, and what they conclude, probably the same thing could be true for happiness also. This is applicable to most of us. We all love money. The reason for that is like money helps us in a lot of ways. It helps us to get a vehicle. It helps us to get a good place to stay. It also gives us ability to buy clothes, watch, and jewelry. It facilitates us to go to the restaurant or to take an exotic vacation. In addition to that, the savings, the investment which we make with the help of a person like Miss Arpita Gupta, helps us to secure our retirement. And at the same time, it helps us to fight the future illness well. And last but not the least, it gives us a power to help people. So basically, we all say that we want money and we want more and more money. When I was a student in the 12th standard, I had exposure to a movie which we call a curse. And I'm sure all of those who are like more than 50 years, they must have seen that movie. And based on that, we consider that money is a path which will lead to happiness. I also used to believe the same thing. Now I have a very different views that I will share with you. So I'm going to show a small clip of that movie, which I'm sure will remind you the message which I was under the impression.
Sir, audio is not there.
Dr. Dhiren, we are not able to listen the audio.
Okay, so let me go back and because then I have to share the sound. Let me, okay, like I have enabled it. Again, I'm playing it. Sorry.
No problem.
ये पैसा ये हो मुसीबत न हो मुसीबत हो मुसीबत न हो मुसीबत।
Yes, so all the seniors in the audience, they must be remembering this. So from now onwards, I am going to give the message in the form of story. There is no resemblance to any character by chance or by intention. So all the characters described in this story are hypothetical. So don't try to find out who the actual person is. So this story is about Dr. Asit Mehta. He is an anesthetist. At present, he is 40-year-old and he practices in Ahmedabad. He did his post-graduation again from Gujarat. And after that, he is in a wonderful group practice and he has a very good earning also. During in his early career, he attended one of the program organized by Indian Society of Anesthesia Gujarat branch. And in that, they invited a speaker, Mr. Parikh, who is almost similar to the today's second speaker, Miss Arpita Gupta. He is a wealth advisor. And in one of his talk in the association, he said that most of the people, they focus on earning. After that, they spend. And whatever is left behind, they keep it as a saving. But he said that the saving should be the top priority. And he said that the correct formula is you earn, from that you first of all save, and whatever is left, that one should spend. So Dr. Asit Mehta, he applied this and he made it a rule that from whatever income he has from every month, he is going to save at least 35% of that income, and the remaining thing he will spend. The reason for doing that is he was under the impression that once he has created a wealth, automatically after a few years, he will have a next destination, that is happiness, which is, I am sure that most of us also have the same idea. So there is nothing wrong with Dr. Asit Mehta with this hypothesis. So the guidance of Mr. Parikh gave a very good return on over the investment. and they had a return of investment of around 17%, which is considered to be a very good. And because of that, he was able to have a good amount of asset in just 10 years of his career. After 10 years, he realized that he had a hypothesis that the wealth will lead to happiness. But he realized that it is something different, that if I am wealthy at this stage, after a few years, I will become rich. Then probably if I continue, I will be in the top 100 doctors of India, and then probably the top 10 doctors of India. But in this trek, in this journey, the happiness is not the station. So it is something like you want to go to Delhi, but you have taken a train towards Chennai. And then probably that gives you that, oh, I am in a wrong train. So he also had the same feeling. And he realized that the wealth creation does not lead to happiness. So he had two questions, that why does not money bring happiness? Because most of us believe the other way around. And he had a completely different experience in the first 10 years. And the second question is like, what can I do to increase my happiness? So he had various options. The first option was to create more wealth. But again, in that, he had a doubt that more money will bring happiness or not. The second option was to spend more money so that he gives more pleasure, and that will also bring happiness. The fourth option was to spend slightly differently. He don't know how to do it, but still he had an idea that if I can spend differently, then probably I may have a more happiness. And the last was, a few of us, they go for that is a chemical support. They take the help of alcohol or some other medicines to get what we call it pleasure. And they are looking for happiness in that pleasure. But he had a lot of faith in this Mr. Parikh. And Mr. Parikh has become not only the wealth advisor, but now he has become a friend, philosopher, and guide for Dr. Asif Parikh. So he asked a question. I want to understand the relation between income and happiness. So he asked a question that according to you, how money and happiness are related. And I'm going to ask you the same question to all of you. You just have to write down your answer in the chat. So he gave option 1, in which on the x-axis there is a earning, that's an income. On the y-axis there is happiness. So first, maybe like there is a linear relation. I think someone has drawn on that. I need to remove that disable. Yeah, host, can you remove this annotation?
I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Dhiren, you'll have to do it. The person who is sharing the screen, only he has the permission.
Yeah, but someone has already done it, so I don't know how to remove it. I've disabled it, but this will remain all throughout the presentation.
No issue. Please continue.
Yeah. So the second option was the option B, in which as the income increases, the happiness level increase, and after that it goes down. That's the second option which I'm giving you. And the third option is like there is an increase in the happiness to some extent, and after that it comes to the plateau, and then it does not increase. So I just want to write down your response, A, B, or C, in the chat box. So according to you, what do you think? Whether it's a B, or C, what is right? Yes, we had a good response. So C. A lot of people have said C. Very good. I'm very happy that you are mentioning what probably may be the correct answer. So let's see what is the correct answer. Fine. Thank you. Someone had mentioned about the B also. Okay. So let's go further. I think I need to stop the presentation over here, remove this first, and then I need to go. Okay, I hope you are able to see the slide, right? Okay, fine. So basically, what is the relation between income and happiness? The relation is something like this. So for certain income, there is an increase in the happiness level, and after that, it comes to plateau. Now, this was really a aha moment for Dr. Asit Gandhi, because he was under the impression that probably like with more and more income, he's going to have more and more happiness. But he realized that this is not what his senior, his guide, his philosopher suggested. So he came to the question, do you agree with that? I am not going to ask this question because majority of you have agreed to this. So we are not going to discuss. But the question is like for Dr. Asit, this was really surprising and confusing. He said that this is completely unbelievable. This is not going with my understanding of the happiness. So Mr. Parikh said that, let me explain you about this. So the study says that when you take 1,000 people and try to carry out the assessment about their income and their happiness, which is called a cross-sectional study. You are looking at a group and then you are trying to find out the happiness. And they said that, yes, in that category, there is a linear relation between the income and the happiness. However, based on that, we always assume that increase in the income will make people happier. But when they followed up the people longitudinally, means like they started in 2000, from 2010, 2015, 2020, 2025, they realized that with increase in the income, there is no increase in the happiness over a period of time. So basically, this is what the graph for initial income, there is increase in happiness, and after that, there is no increase. This is called the Easterlin paradox. And Easterlin paradox name came from the economist Richard Easterlin. In 1974, he first published this paradox. Again, he carried out the same study in 1995, and again, the same finding was realized. The same study was repeated in many countries, and in those countries, it was realized that up to certain extent, income increased the happiness, but beyond that, there is no increase. So happiness, as shown in this graph, up to this, definitely it helps to increase your happiness. And if you are in this stage of the life, then definitely you need to take a help of Miss Arpita or any other wealth advisor to increase your income so that your happiness improves. However, after certain level, once you have reached the plateau, after that your happiness does not increase. And then your life becomes something like a treadmill. You carry out efforts, you carry out exercise, but you don't move forward. So your happiness does not improve. The question which Dr. Asit has, like, why does more money not lead to more happiness? And I'm sure that a lot of people have this question. And in next 20 minutes, I'm going to discuss on that question only. So Mr. Parikh said that let me share few or more studies related to psychology. And he said that there is a gentleman called Rolf Dobelli. He's a cognitive psychologist, and he has published two very good books, which I request all of you to read. The book from which I'm going to quote this study is from The Art of the Good Life. He's also the author of a wonderful book, The Art of Thinking Clearly. In that book, he said that if you are in a desert, you have started your journey in the desert from the morning, and whatever water you had is already consumed. For last 2 or 3 hours, you are really thirsty. You don't have any water with you. And then one gentleman meet you. He offer you a water. So when you consume the first liter of water, your happiness level will be very high. Once you have consumed the first liter, after that, when you take a second liter, your happiness goes down. After that, the second liter, with the third and the fourth liter, your happiness goes further down. So this is called a law of habituation or the law of diminishing satisfaction. And the law says that as people consumes an item or a product, the satisfaction the people derive from the product diminishes as they consume more and more. So Mr. Parikh said that let me explain with my own examples. He said that when I started my practice, I had a very meager amount of income. From that, I got the first shirt of Arrow. And I was very happy. I felt over the world that, yes, I am able to get a shirt of Arrow. But after a few weeks, he bought the second. Again, he was less happy than the first one, but still he was happy. But after 5 or 6 shirts, the happiness level was not that great. He said that again, I had the same experience. When I started my practice, when I traveled by air, which was very unusual in those days, and I traveled by air and I was extremely happy, and I told everyone that I had a flight. But after that, the second flight, third flight, my happiness level was not that great. So Dr. Asit said that the same thing happened with me also. When I bought my first car, for 3 months, I found out a lot of information, which car is good, this car is good. I went to different manufacturers, different agents. But once I bought and brought the car to my home, in a matter of 15 days, my happiness level settles down. So happiness level from the physical thing is something like that. Suppose before buying a thing, you are at this level. With the new thing, that may be a house, that may be a new car, there is a sudden surge of the happiness level. But after a few weeks, again, it comes down to the original level. So the point is, the pleasure derived from the physical things are short lasting. It may be 2 weeks, it may be 2 months, but it's not long lasting. Mr. Parikh told Dr. Asit that I strongly suggest you to read the book Happy Money. The Happy Money book is written by Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton. Both are again psychologists. One is in Canada, the second one is in Boston. They did a wonderful study, which is very important, that why happy people are not getting, or why rich people are not getting so much of happiness. So they carried out a randomized control trial, which is considered to be a very high level study. They divided the participants into 2 groups. In group 1, they made the participants to think that they are wealthy. And in the second group, which was a control group, no instructions were given. After that, they gave them a Cadbury to eat. And after 15 minutes, they asked, how much did you enjoy the chocolate? A very simple question, a very small gesture. What they found out was a really interesting thing. When they made the people to think that they were wealthy or they are wealthy, the enjoyment which they derived from the chocolate was much less. So they concluded that wealthy people don't get enjoyment from small pleasures. And in life, every day we have a small pleasures that actually builds and that make us happy. But wealthy people are unfortunate, they don't get enjoyment from the small pleasures. In addition to that, there are other studies which says that the wealthy people, they are less caring, they are less warm, they have a less pro-social behavior. They tend to remain aloof because they are constantly worried that people may take benefit of their wealth. And in addition to that, they are also worried about maintaining the level. So this is like, we know that one of the industrialists is now in number 6. So he's constantly worried about maintaining his level at position 6. So that also brings some stress. So wealthy people are not able to enjoy the smaller pleasures of life. And that is one of the reasons they are less happy. Now, Dr. Asit had a very relevant question. What is that income beyond which there is no more happiness? And I'm sure that everyone in the audience is also trying to look for the same question. So when we look at this, he was trying to find out that if there is a plateau at that level, what is that income? A study which was done by a Nobel laureate, Professor Kahneman, author of the book Thinking Fast and Slow, he won the Nobel Prize in 2002 of the economics. And he carried out a study which says that for USA, 75,000 per year is an income beyond which you don't get further increase in the happiness. Now, a very important question, what is that figure for me? And I'm sure that you are looking for the answer to that question. There is no study done in India, but one of my colleague, Dr. Tushar Agrawal, who is also a pediatric orthopedic surgeon in Mumbai, he has carried out a very good survey amongst orthopedic surgeons of Mumbai and across India. And from that, he concluded that for average doctor practicing in Mumbai, the 4 lakhs income per month is a plateau beyond which you don't get happiness. But let me tell you that this was a study which was done in Mumbai. Again, it's not a randomized controlled trial and it's unpublished work. Mr. Parikh said that, let me understand the few variables which, when we are looking at the income, we have to understand the few variables. The first variable is like it depends on the buying capacity of currency. When we are talking with dollar, it has a much more buying capacity than the Indian rupees. So you cannot convert like multiplied by $75,000 by 77 Indian rupees. Again, the city-wise cost of living differs. The metros like Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi have a much more cost of living than that of Ahmedabad. Again, it depends on how many members are there in the family and in which stage of life you are. If you are at 40, your level may be different, and the person who is at 55, they are in a different stage. So again, their income thing is different. And the most important thing, Mr. Parikh said that the personal variation is very important. And I'm going to focus on this personal variation because we all need to understand. So I'm going to ask you a question. In which scenario the person will be more happy? Person A and person B. And you can see that the income of a person A is much less than the person B. And if I ask you I am sure that the rational thinking, the logical thinking says that absolutely the person B should be happy. But now I give you more information, and that information says that the friends of both Mr. A and Mr. B, their earning is like this. The friends of person A are having a less income than those with the person B, while the person B is surrounded by the friends whose income is much more than the person B. And now in this scenario, I am sure that you will be able to say that person A will be much more happier than person B in spite of having a low income. So the comparison is the thief of happiness. Dr. Asit said that, yeah, that's very true. When I bought my first car, all the family members were very happy. We remained happy for 1 year, but then our neighbor also got the same car. And once they had the car, then our pleasure, our happiness went down significantly. So that says that the comparison with our peers, comparison with our neighbors, comparison with our friends is one of the reasons which reduces our happiness. Mr. Parikh said that I shall like to tell you another reason from my personal experience. He said that when I started my practice, I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and which tells us about a concept which I am sure that Arpita Ben is going to tell. That's a FIRE. FIRE stands for financial independence and retired early. So the concept has been explained very well by this author, Robert Kiyosaki, in his book, Rich Dad and Poor Dad. So Mr. Parikh said that after reading that book, I decided that once I have a 1 crore rupees with me, I will be very happy. And at that stage, I will be able to retire. In next 10 years, with good investment, I am able to reach my target. But as soon as I reach my target went further. And then I decided that instead of 1 crore, now I should have a 2 crore. I decided that my monthly expense can be more, the inflation rate will be more, the interest rate will go down. Again, after 10 years, I reached that limit. And when I reached that my new target, again, my new target went further ahead. And I'm sure that all of us must have felt the same thing. So our target goes on moving further as we go on further and further. Again, I am going to ask you the same question. That's a mental exercise. Which item of the list, which I'm going to describe in the next slide, do you consider that it is important for the good life? These are the 10 items. A home of your own, the home with more land, with loan, with more facilities. The third is car. The fourth is the second car. The fifth is a farmhouse. Sixth is travel outside India. The seventh is big screen TV. The eighth is a second TV in the bedroom. The ninth is branded clothes. And the last is the designer clothes or the watches. So how many things you want from this list? Fine, just make a note. And then the next question I want to ask you, how many items you already have with you? It's the same list. The first question, how many things you want? Now I am asking you slightly different. How many things you already have? Now, how this question is important. So let's see what happens over time. With time, our income grows. And usually, like these are the things which we want. And the green one is the things which we have. After a decade, our income will increase. And because of those things which we were wanting before 10 years, now we are able to have. But what will happen? At the same time, the things now we want increases. Again, after next 5 or 10 years, the income increases, the things which we have increases. And at the same time, the things which we want again go up. So once we have more, we want more. So with increasing what we have, we don't become happier. The reason is it's not the level of things which you have, but the gap between what we want and what we have, that determines the happiness. Bigger the gap, lesser the happy we are. Smaller that gap, more the happy we are. So what happens? Most of us, with increase in income, we have more and more things, but at the same time, we want more and more. And that leads to the gap remains the same. The gap between what we want and what we have remains same. And that does not lead to more happiness. So the question which Dr. Asit had, like, why does our want go on increasing? So Mr. Parikh said that that's because of the social comparison. And he said that, let me give you a wonderful example of a Bhutan. Before 1998, Bhutan was coming in a very high level as far as the happiness was concerned. Probably that was one of the highest level country in the happiness index. But one thing happened in 1998. The king of Bhutan allowed the outside TV channel in the country. And what happened? As soon as the TV channels came in the Bhutan, the people of Bhutan, the citizens of Bhutan, now they started seeing the people of other countries, what Americans are doing, what people from Switzerland are doing, what the Chinese people are doing. And they started looking at the big buildings and the fancy life. And once the TV came, they start comparing themselves and their happiness index went down significantly. So Mr. Parikh said that if you are thinking that path of money is going to lead you to the happiness, it's a wrong notion. It does not take you to the happiness level. If you want to go to a state of happiness, then you have to adopt something else like this that will lead you to the happiness. So Dr. Asit said that following analogy applies very aptly. If you want to make a chole, a tasty chole, and if you only have a salt with you, that does not make or give you the ability to make the tasty chole. For that, you need a variety of spices. Once you have all these spices, then only you will be able to make your life, the chole tastier. Similarly, money alone cannot take you to the highest level of happiness. You need something else. So he said that, what can I do to increase my happiness? That's a very second important question. Mr. Parikh said that this is a very important question, and we shall discuss that in future, because my colleague, Ms. Arpita Gupta, is waiting for her lecture, and she is going to tell us how to reach to the level, to the income, so that we have the maximum happiness. So the take-home message of my lecture is that up to certain level of income, the money does bring happiness. After certain level, more money does not bring more happiness, because we get habituated to the comforts of the physical thing. The comparison is the biggest thief of joy or the happiness. And the gap or the difference between what I want and what I have, that determines happiness. Once again, my sincere gratitude to all the viewers. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me after the second lecture is over, or you can write on my email address ganjwala@gmail.com, or you can WhatsApp me 97129 25600. Thank you, and over to you, Atul.
Thank you very much, sir. Dhiren, such an excellent. Now we can find out some different way of living. We are running for call here and there. So we are thinking about this. I invite Dr. Rasesh Diwan, our senior person, our director of the Indian Citizen Council, and our respected Dr. Rasesh Diwan for few words. Rasesh bhai.
Thank you, Atul. In fact, I am the most unfit person to discuss this about. But one thing I agree, what I would suppose, I will support Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala is money is not everything in the life for the happiness. He very well explained us, but I have to support Arpita also. There is nothing in the life if you do not have money. So I think it is very important that we listen to Arpita. So that reach to certain happiness, you certainly need money. But when you reach to a certain level of money, you have it. You need to have the values of life, and what Dhiren says, we need to understand what is happiness. There are so many things in the life which will give you happiness. And one thing I believe is you try to be a kid in your life. If everybody understands Gujarati, let me tell you, I remember an article with our late, who was that guy who was a Laughing Club person? Who created the Laughing Club?
Mukund Mehta.
Mukund Mehta. I remember his article some 10, 12 years back in one of the very leading newspaper. Tamaru barpan sachi rakho. That will give you the highest happiness till you live on this planet. That was his article, and I very much like that. So try to maintain your. You don't you don't be a childish, but maintain your childhoodness in your life, and probably that gives the best happiness in the life. Thank you, Atul. I think very important lecture is coming up. Naveen, I tried to contact. He will join a little later. So we must have the first lecture from Arpita Gupta.
Thank you, Rasesh. The one announcement is there. We are planning for physical CME on airway. Also, the Dragar company will send the invitation letters, and I also invite all delegates to physical present in Ahmedabad. Tentative is the 5th June. I will declare on later on. Now I invite Dr. Hina Ben to invite our next speaker, Arpita Ben.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Miss Arpita Gupta, she is a chartered accountant, CFA L1 USA. She is a director of the Nivesmitra.com. And she is the regular columnist at the Money Control and the CNBC TV 18. She is working as a wealth and the investment advisor, and her clients is from the varied backgrounds like the doctors, NRIs, non-profits, army veterans, businessmen, so far and so on. So Ms. Arpita has been invited here to conduct the personal finance and the investing sessions for the Indian Medical Association, top surgeons, gynecologists, radiologists, and anesthesiologists pan India. Architect and the other peoples are also looking the benefits from these Ms. Arpita Gupta lectures. So over to you, Ms. Arpita Gupta.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hina. Thank you, Dr. Gandhi, Dr. Ganjwala, Dr. Rasesh, Dr. Divyani Desai. Thank you so much for having me. It is completely my honor to actually be addressing such a wonderful and elite and very knowledgeable audience, actually. So completely my honor. I'll just share my screen to begin with. Okay, so for ease of conducting the session, we're muting all the participants, and it will be really good if you could, I'd love to have this as an interactive session, not as a monologue, but as a dialogue. So if you have any questions or opinions during the session, please feel free to write it in the chat box, and I'll be more than happy to take any of those questions during the session. If not, at the end, we'll open for audience Q&A, so we can start then. Take your questions then. Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala has actually covered some of my points actually, and what a wonderful presentation and opening our eyes regarding that aspect also. Number one, he covered that, try to invest before spending. So, that is something really important, and we try to propagate this really loud to all the audiences, to everybody that we, address. So this is something I would request you all to definitely keep in mind. The second thing was that, happiness peaks at one level of money, and after that it's a stagnant line. So it is a stagnant line. It is very true. Only one thing that I'd like to add here is, if with your permission, sir. What I would like to add here is, that the amount of money that you need to reach the peak of happiness, it actually depends. That what sir also said, that it depends for person to person, it depends on a lot of things. And with this session, we're going to actually try to quantify all of that. We're going to focus on creating a passive source of income. So this is not just retirement income, this is trying to create a passive source of income. And someone somewhere said that he who makes a 25,000 per month through passive income is more enviable than he who earns 1 lakh rupees per month through a salary. So, the target here is actually going to be creating a passive source of income, a source of income that, is generated through money. Money is working for you instead of, you're working and you're putting that 100% in medical income. The entire objective here is to create financial freedom for all of you. If you're 30, 40, if you know your monthly living expenses are completely met by the passive source of income that you've created, trust me, it creates a lot of financial freedom, and of course adds a lot of happiness, a lot of comfort to your mental well-being. So this is something I would like to highlight here. So we'll try to create second source of income. Don't restrict it to retirement planning as people call it. But even if you're 30, 40 years old, if you can create a passive source of income and make sure the passive source of income is completely able to take care of your monthly living expenses. If it is really tiny and it hardly adds, hardly makes a difference to your monthly living expenses, then honestly, again, it will not make a difference. But the target here has to be creating a passive source of income as early as possible, 30, 40, 50, whatever age you are in, from 10 years from now, or whatever time limit that you can actually achieve in. Make sure that passive source of income completely takes care of your monthly living expenses. Just before we begin, a brief introduction about myself. I am Arpita Gupta. I am a chartered accountant and I head niveshmitra.com. So by education, I'm a chartered accountant and CFA L1 USA. The reason why I am here and why am I relevant as a speaker in the finance and investment journey for doctors is particularly me and my team are working as wealth and investment advisors to clients from varied backgrounds. Specifically, we work with a lot of doctors and Indian Army and Air Force veterans. These are the two niche clientele segments that we work with, and that is pan India. So across India, we have clients, in this segment, and we could understand what is the main psychology and the common investment mistakes. What are the common, areas? How can you create a passive source of income? What state of mind do medical professionals actually come from? So because of understanding all of that, we've actually designed this session. Speaking to so many doctors, I could understand that, once they achieve the age of 60, they want to slow down. They want to take only selective cases. So that is the time when if you have a passive source of income that will completely take care of your monthly living expenses, that is the time that you need such kind of a passive source of income. And of course, if the earlier you achieve it, the better it is. A little about our company. So we're basically a wealth tech company. We help clients manage their investments and reach their financial goals. And so basically, if clients want to achieve, retirement planning or factor in for their kids' education, marriage. So this is our goal, basically, to help our clients achieve these goals. And to help them achieve these goals, we help them invest in all kinds of asset classes: bonds, debentures, stock market, Indian stock markets, so stocks, mutual funds, small case, AIF, PMS, and even international listed equities. Really humble to share this slide with you all. We are truly a wealth tech company. So you can see all the green marked states, and this is all where our clients are based. So really happy to share that, we're serving clients across India, right from Haryana and Delhi to even Tamil Nadu, Kerala. And this is happening because we're 100% paperless. So with God's grace, we're sitting here and sharing this graph. Okay, so coming back to the presentation, what are we going to talk about today? Why prioritize planning for retirement or creating a second source of income? How much of money do you need for that? Different investment options available. What is the urgency, right age to start? And checks. If you're already investing for it, is it sufficient? And is the portfolio, let's do the portfolio quality check. So why plan for retirement on creating a second source of income? So, a lot of clients come to us and say that, my priority is to save for my kids' education, marriage. And of course, there's a very big emotional sentiment around that. Or, I have to save for my house that I want to build, or, I'm basically servicing a very big home loan. So, my priority is that. But we always stress to all of our clients, everybody that we speak to, is retirement should always be priority number one, even above your kids' education, even above your, planning for the house, health, everything. The reason being, if your kids reach the college education part, the college age, and without you having a sufficient corpus to sponsor it, there's still a backup. They can opt for education loan. You want to build a house, but you don't have a sufficient corpus for that. There's still a backup plan. There's home loan. If there's a medical emergency, there's still a backup. There's health insurance, there's personal loan. If you want to buy a car of your dreams, there's still a backup, there's car loan. But when you talk about retirement, there's literally no backup. There's nothing called retirement loan. There's nothing called retirement insurance. If you end up retiring at the age of 60, you want to slow down for any kind of reason, or if you're retiring without any corpus in hand, there is absolutely no backup plan. And that is exactly why we really strongly stress on creating a retirement corpus as the number one priority, because all of these other goals have a backup plan. Retirement really does not have a backup plan. At the age of 65, 63% of Indians are dependent on children and charity for their monthly living expenses. Being self-dependent doctors, we definitely don't want to fall into this category. So the number one priority, of course, with all these sentiments and with all the there's nothing wrong in depending on your kids, but being self-dependent doctors, we don't want to fall into this bracket. Let's actually create a passive source of income completely comfortable to take care of your living expenses. The number one question that comes is, how much retirement corpus do you need? So, there are two things that you need to keep in mind is when you're talking about retirement corpus. Number one is you have to make sure the retirement corpus, whatever income is generated, it takes completely care of your monthly living expenses. So if your monthly living expenses today are 50,000, it should ideally give you 50,000 rupees per month to take care of your monthly living expenses. Number two is it should be inflation adjusted. That means every year, the monthly income that you're getting from your investments should ideally increase every year by the rate of inflation. So, if you're spending 50,000 rupees per month today, you should ideally get 50,000 rupees per month as interest income or returns, whatever you call it, from your passive source of investment. But every year, that 50,000 should increase by inflation, which is why the corpus, it is very important to understand what is the corpus that you need. The corpus that you need is customized to every person. It depends on your age, it depends on your current monthly expenses, and it depends on the inflation. So, a corpus, somebody might need 4 crores, somebody might need 6 crores. It all depends on these three factors. A person who's 30 years old versus a person who's 60 years old needs a different corpus. If both people are 50 years old, but if both of them have a different standard of living, this is what it is quantified. Current monthly expenses actually quantify your standard of living. So if you have a different standard of living, you will need a different retirement corpus to take care of your passive source of income. So these are the three things that can actually help you arrive at the retirement corpus that you need. Now let's discuss all of these three. Number one is inflation. What inflation should you factor into when you're living in India? So over the last 50 years, inflation in India has actually averaged around 7 to 8% per annum. If you actually notice the cost of fuel, grocery expenses, living expenses, and you just see over 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, what is the rate at which it has grown, you'll see on an average, all of these expenses have grown by 7 to 8% per annum. What does inflation at 7 to 8% per annum mean? Is if you're spending 20,000 rupees per month today, if your monthly living expenses are 20,000 per month, after 10 years, the same living expenses are going to double. So to maintain the same standard of living, you'll have to shell out 40,000 rupees per month. And that is exactly why I stressed on the point that your retirement corpus that you've invested should ideally, whatever returns it is generating, it should increase every year to factor in for inflation. This is what inflation does to you. To maintain the same standard of living, if you're shelling out 20,000 today, after 10 years, you're going to have to shell out 40,000. After that, you'd have to shell out 77,000 per month. So this is how it increases every year, every 10 years. So how much do you need? It depends on your age. It depends on your monthly living expenses. How do you calculate the monthly living expenses?
Arpita ma'am, sorry for the interruption. Our National Secretary, Honorary Secretary, Dr. Naveen sir is joining us. Please take the co-host. I am sorry for disturbance. And आपका फिनिश होने के बाद डॉक्टर सर का लेक्चर ले सकते हैं.
Sure, no problem. I've made him as
डॉक्टर नवीन सर को co-host बना दो प्लीज.
बना दिया सर.
Thank you sir. Welcome Dr. Naveen sir.
Do we continue, Dr. Gandhi, with your permission?
Just 1 minute. I am sorry for that.
Yeah.
Dr. Naveen sir.
Please continue the lecture, Doctor.
Sir, can I finish this lecture and then after you?
Please do not disturb our flow.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Let us flow with our talk.
Continue, Arpita ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. As I was saying, the retirement corpus that you need, it depends on 3 factors. Number 1, inflation. It is stagnant for all of us, 7 to 8% per annum. Number 2, it's your age. And number 3, it's your monthly living expenses. So this is just an example. If you're 30 years old today and your monthly living expenses are 20,000 rupees per month, on retirement, when you're 60 years old, basically, your monthly living expenses to maintain the same standard of living, it will increase to 1.5 lakhs. And this guy who's 30 years old today he's 30 years old, he's spending 20,000 rupees per month today. At retirement, he'll need a corpus of 4 crores when he retires. So, this is how the calculations work. After the session, if you want, you can drop an email to us and we'll send you the retirement calculator. It's completely complimentary. So you can actually calculate your own retirement corpus, putting in just your age and your monthly living expenses. Now, of course, that 4 crore figure might look overwhelming. It might look a little scary. How do I really achieve that 4 crore figure? How is it possible for somebody who has a standard of living of just 20,000 per month? What are the investment options available? These are the investment options available. One is fixed income. So, bank FD, senior citizen savings scheme. Then there's NPS, National Pension Scheme, the most popular one for pension by the government of India. PF, equities, and insurance. We'll discuss all of these, the pros and cons, and actually the right way of investing on all of these. So when you talk about National Pension Scheme, I'm sure you all know that you get tax deduction of 50,000 rupees every year when you invest in that. And it is basically your pension income. So the advantage is this. Now, what are the problems? These problems are not discussed generally, so I'd like to highlight it here. The problem number 1 is NPS is low on liquidity. What do I mean by that? So whenever you're investing something in NPS, so suppose you invest 50,000 rupees in NPS, the liquidity is low. That means by the time you retire, you can just access 40-50% of the total investment amount. And the remaining amount can just be accessed by way of annuity. So according to me, I have always that view that, if this is your money, you should be able to access it whenever and however much you want. There should not be any liquidity restrictions on actually accessing that money. So if you're 30 years old, you'll have to wait till actually being 60 so that you can actually withdraw some portion, and after that also it can just come to you in the form of monthly income. It cannot be accessed in the form of lump sum. Number 2, the problem is limited returns. So, of course, NPS works on a little conservative way because it is designed for taking the entire Indian population into mind. So the NPS is actually designed really conservatively, and that is why the returns are a little limited when you compare with other investment options. The problem number 2 is it is largely insufficient. So for example, the 30-year-old guy who's earning 20,000 rupees per month, he makes it a point to invest 50,000 rupees every year in NPS till the time he retires. So he's investing basically 50,000 rupees every year in NPS for 30 years of his life till the time he's retiring. Can he take care of his retirement expenses just by NPS? This is what NPS will contribute to his retirement expenses. So at retirement, if his expenses are 1 lakh rupees per month because of inflation, not because of increase in standard of living. So on retirement, if his expenses are 1 lakh per month, with NPS, he can just get 20,000 rupees per month. What about the remaining 80,000 rupees? So this is a major problem when you're talking about NPS. So even if you like NPS and the problems that I just discussed don't look, a big problem, and you're still attracted to the tax deduction offered by NPS, you need to understand NPS cannot be a complete solution for you. You need to account and save in for the remaining 80% of the area. NPS can only contribute to 20% of the retirement expenses. Now, how do you actually factor in and how do you invest for the remaining 80% of the retirement expenses? What are the different investment options? The most popular, the most loved, bank FD, guaranteed income, guaranteed principal protection. What more do I want? The only problem that we're facing is bank FD rates are really low, 5, 5.5, 6%, and that has started a little increasing. So what about bank FD? Should I invest in bank FD? What is the real return in bank FD? The problem is, even if you're earning 6%, so this is a little old slide, even if you're earning 6%, and I'm sure all of us here are under the tax bracket of 20% or 30%. Even if you're getting 6% pre-tax returns in FD, and you're under the tax bracket of 20%, your in-hand return will not be more than 4.5 to 5% per annum. So on the envelope, it might look 6%, but actually you're getting after tax, you're not getting more than 4.5 to 5%. Max to max, this can be 4.5 to 5% per annum in your hand. When you're talking about bank FD, if you want to save for bank FD through retirement, through bank FD for your retirement and achieve actually that 4 crores figure, you need to start investing 50,000 rupees per month or invest a figure of 94 lakhs basically. So imagine for a person who has a standard of living of 20,000 rupees per month, he basically has to invest 2.5 times 50,000 rupees every month till the time he retires to incorporate or save for his monthly living expenses, which looks really huge, which looks unachievable. So bank FD is a very expensive solution, and it is a little less affordable if you're actually thinking about saving just for your retirement, just through bank FD. Number 2, the most popular option among senior citizens, amongst doctors, is Senior Citizen Savings Scheme or POMIS. I've seen a lot of doctors actually, as soon as they, get a little older or in the name of their parents or grandparents, what they do is they'll invest that 15 lakh limit in Senior Citizen Savings Scheme, thinking it's a government guaranteed scheme. If bank FD is giving me 5, 5.5, 6%, Senior Citizen Savings Scheme will give me 7.5% per annum, which looks really interesting, which looks very good. It's guaranteed, its principal is guaranteed, it's government guaranteed, so why not go for it? But what as doctors we tend to miss is the detail. The devil is in the detail. The detail here is it is simple interest, it is not compound interest. So going back to high school, difference between simple interest and compound interest. Compound interest is when you're earning interest on interest. So if 7.4% per annum was compound interest, whatever interest that you're earning in the first year, the second year, bank will give you interest of 7.4% on your investment amount plus on the interest amount that you earned in the first year. But what happens in the simple interest area or senior citizen savings scheme for that matter is whatever interest that you're earning is compulsorily paid out to you in your bank account and it is not reinvested at this rate. Does it really make a huge difference? Why are we talking about this? This is the kind of difference it makes. So bank FDs work on compound interest. Inflation works on compound interest. That is why we have to compare apples to apples. So when I talk about bank FD, if bank FD was suppose 7% per annum, if you think senior citizen savings scheme is better than bank FD, then let's compare bank FD at 7%. Bank FD, if you would have invested 1 lakh today, after 30 years, it would have become 8 lakhs. So this is guaranteed return. At the same time, if you're talking about senior citizen savings scheme, the cash here is simple interest. So whatever interest that you're earning, it is not reinvested here at 7% again. It is compulsorily paid out to you. Now that 1 lakh in 28 years becomes 3 lakhs. It looks very good on the envelope that you've made your money 3 times in 28 years. But when you actually compare, the difference is almost of 3 times. When your money is reinvested at such a high rate, then always the effect of compounding, the power of compounding takes over. And this is the kind of difference it can actually make. Now, a lot of people say that, if I'm investing into senior citizen savings scheme, whatever interest I get, I end up investing in an RD. But that RD is not paying you 7%. It is much lower than 7%. In fact, 4-5%. So your net interest or net return that you're earning out of senior citizen savings scheme, POMIS, or even RBI bonds for that matter, if they're giving you 7% per annum simple interest, it is essentially equal to a bank FD at 5% per annum. So these products, basically senior citizen savings scheme, POMIS, RBI bonds, they're basically creatively marketed products. They on the envelope, offer a very high guaranteed return to actually attract investors. But actually, when you see inside the envelope, when you look inside the envelope, it is essentially a bank FD product. It is not getting you more than 5% per annum. And again, if you're relying on these products, RBI bonds or any of these products for your retirement, again, it will be really unaffordable to save sufficiently for your retirement or passive source of income. What are the other options? Insurance. So insurance, this is something really important to talk about. A lot of doctors enter into insurance policies. So this is something really, really important that you need to understand. One, there are 2 types of insurance policies. One is guaranteed income plans or, pension plans. And number 2 is ULIPs. So guaranteed return plans or pension plans, what does it offer? What they say is, pay a premium to us on an annual basis or just a lump sum basis. And when you retire, you will either get 3x of the money that you've invested, or you'll get a pension income worth 15,000 per month or 20,000 per month till the time you're alive. Now, this is a very good marketing pitch, actually. What it actually offers, what does it actually offers? When you actually do the math, when you do the calculation, the returns offered by guaranteed return plans or pension plans offered by even LIC, by HDFC Life, Kotak Life, you name it, any insurance company, ICICI Pru Life, any of these insurance companies, if they're offering a guaranteed return plan, the returns, when you actually will calculate on an Excel sheet or a calculator, the returns are not more than 5 to 6% per annum. So again, this is a creatively marketed product. On the envelope, it looks good, that 3x return or a guaranteed pension return. But inside, when you see, it is again a bank FD, just a creatively marketed product. Now, a lot of people ask me, what is the harm? At least I'm getting a 5% guaranteed return. This is the harm. If you're getting 5% guaranteed return, you need to understand this is the rate at which your cost of living is increasing. This is the rate at which inflation in India is. And if you look at this as a guaranteed income, I look at this as the guaranteed loss. So your purchasing power is definitely decreasing every year by 2% per annum. It's a guaranteed loss of 2% per annum because your purchasing power will not be able to match up to it. So this is why a guaranteed pension income of 5 to 6% per annum is a problem. And if you actually end up investing in just these options, what it ultimately leads to is post-retirement, your monthly expenses, because of inflation due to the same standard of living, will actually be much more than the guaranteed pension income that you've actually invested for all your life. That means you will have to sizably reduce your standard of living and substantially reduce your monthly living expenses. Now, I understand there's a lot of comfort in the word guaranteed, and there's a lot of comfort in the amount of cost that you need to invest. It's a very small amount. There are alternative investment options where you can just invest as much, but they are just smarter. You should just know the secret sauces of investing into them, and you can actually make a better living with them. This is the impact of inflation on your monthly expenses. If you're actually spending 30,000 rupees per month today, if you're 30 years old today, at retirement, this monthly living expenses will increase to 2.5 lakhs, 2.28 lakhs per month. This is all purely because of inflation. This is a slide I'm just showing you to help you understand that this is what inflation does. And you can actually look back and see. Of course, you cannot look forward, but you can look back at 20 years back. What was the monthly living expenses? And today, look at the monthly living expenses, and you will actually see every 10 years, your monthly living expenses have doubled. There's an upgradation of standard of living. Air conditioners are much more common, and so many things. If you're 40 today and you're spending 30,000 per month today, when you retire, you will have to spend 1.16 lakhs. If you're 50 today and you're spending 30,000 rupees per month today, when you retire, you will have to spend 60,000 rupees per month. So the alternative I would strongly recommend here is to guaranteed pension income. The alternative, good alternative, is hybrid mutual funds. What are hybrid mutual funds? So hybrid mutual funds, the underlying area, the basic here is hybrid mutual funds basically invest your money in bank FD, RBI bond, corporate FDs, bonds, debentures, and stock market and gold. So they will invest in all of these three asset classes. They invest in bank FD, government bonds, all of these to give you a safety net so that even in bad times, you will at least get X amount of return. They will invest a portion of your money into stock markets so that you generate bank FD plus return to add a little 2 to 3% extra return for your FD plus income. And they will add little gold to your stability. So the secret sauce, again, that I spoke to you about in hybrid mutual funds is your ideal investing time horizon should be 3 to 5 years. Don't, monitor it every day, every month, every year. Monitor it on a basis of 3 to 5 years. If you're staying invested in such kind of a product for 3 to 5 years, the return, post-tax return that you can expect is 7 to 9% per annum. So if bank FD is giving you 5 to 6% per annum, hybrid mutual funds and 5 to 6%, that is pre-tax. So in hand, it will not be more than 4.5 to 5. Hybrid mutual funds will give you, if bank FD is giving you 5% post-tax, hybrid mutual funds can give you 7 to 9% per annum. This is just a range bracket that I'm sharing if you stay invested for 3 to 5 years. Now, hybrid mutual funds, how do you invest? How do you pick? So there are over 200 plus hybrid mutual funds in India. They're offered by Kotak, SBI, big financial institutions. The right way is do not walk into the branch of SBI and say, that I want to invest into a hybrid mutual fund of SBI. The right way is either do your own research or speak to an investment advisor and let him build you a portfolio of 3 to 4 hybrid mutual funds. The minimum investment amount is just 1,000 rupees. So even if you're investing a small amount, you don't need to worry that can I invest in 4? You ideally should invest in a portfolio of 3 to 5 funds across mutual fund companies. Invest some amount in SBI, invest some amount in ICICI, invest some amount in Axis. So there's a pure diversification that you're playing, and that can actually help you in building a more stable return. And this is the graph that I'm showing you that in the past, how have hybrid mutual funds actually performed? If you see in the last 15 years, how have hybrid mutual funds performed is, if anybody would have invested on any date, stayed invested for exactly 3 years, even in the worst times, he would have gotten 5% kind of returns. So this was COVID market crash. Because of that investment in bank FD, corporate FD, bonds, debentures, it could hold up and did not give negative returns. In fact, it gave plus 5%. On an average, it gave a return of 10%. Maximum, very good times, it even gave a return of 16% per annum. This is all per annum return. And as soon as you increase your time horizon to 5 years, so in the last 15 years, if you would have invested on any date, stayed invested for exactly 5 years, any date, even if you were the unluckiest investor and your 5 years ended on the COVID market crash date, March 2020, you would have come out with plus 6.5% per annum return, which is of course much better than bank FD. And this is the unluckiest investor. On an average, a return of 9-10% was highly achievable. So, I've shared with you the secrets of investing into a good, FD plus kind of a strategy. So if you're looking to invest into such kind of a product for your retirement, this is much better than a guaranteed income if you don't want a lot of volatility. This is how the volatility or risk is much lower. If you see equity, this is orange line stock market, and blue is hybrid mutual fund. You see in COVID market crash, stock market was sitting at -1 return, even after 5 years of holding. But as soon as if you were sitting on hybrid mutual funds for 5 years, you'll be sitting on plus 6.5% per annum. So even in the worst times of crisis, 30%, 40% market crash also, it was giving a positive return, that to 6.5% per annum. Trust me, it's a very good return, even in the worst market. On an average, you can expect a return of 7 to 9% per annum. Dr. Lavanya has asked how are hybrid mutual funds taxed. So there are two ways hybrid mutual funds are taxed. If you're investing in an equity-oriented or a balance advantage fund, your taxes will be, if you're holding for more than 1 year, whatever returns that you own, you have to pay a tax of 10%. So for example, if you're investing into a hybrid mutual fund, you get a return of 9% per annum. You'll have to pay a tax in the year of withdrawal. So if you stay invested for 5 years, you don't have to pay tax at all. You have to pay tax only in the year of withdrawal. And if you get out at a return of 9% per annum, you'll have to pay a tax of 0.9% per annum. That is, your post-tax returns will be 8.1% per annum, which is of course much better. And this is all compound interest. The next insurance policy that, a lot of us, a lot of doctors actually opt in for is ULIP. ULIP is basically an amalgamation of insurance and investment. The number one problem with them is they are very expensive. On the cover, they would show that, ULIP costs have decreased substantially, but when you actually dive deep, they make you incur a lot of cost with varied names. And when you add it up, it comes to at least 4 to 6% per annum, which is almost 3 times more expensive than mutual funds. Number 2, it says insurance and investment. It is a useless insurance product. Imagine you're investing into ULIP of 1 lakh per annum premium. What it'll say is if you face an early death, your family will get approximately 10 lakhs of insurance amount. Now, you and I both know that if you know more, if your family even gets 10 lakh, they can hardly buy a car. Leave apart from the financial responsibilities that you've left behind, like taking care of the retirement corpus of your spouse or kids' education, marriage, whatever. 10 lakhs is nothing. So a lot of money is actually wasted in cost. A lot of money is wasted in a useless insurance product they offer. Number 3, the problem is there's penalty or charges on discontinuance. So there's no flexibility. And that is why I would strongly recommend ULIPs. Do not invest into them. ULIPs are, very missold, highest missold product because of high agent commission. ULIP is a financial product in which if an agent actually sells you, he earns the highest income. So that is why ULIP are the most missold product. So strong recommendation, do not invest in that. ULIP is basically making money for your agent, not for you. The next investment option for investing for retirement corpus is equities. Now, equities are volatile. They are gambling. Is it like gambling? It is very risky. It is very time consuming. What do I do about stock markets? So stock market is volatile in the short run. If you observe on a day-to-day basis, monthly basis, Asian crisis happens, Ketan Parekh scam happens, demonetization happens, inflation is high in US and India, and all of these can actually help make the markets correct substantially. But when you observe stock market returns in the long run, stock market returns are in line with the growth of the underlying economy. So what we did was we charted the returns, actual returns given by all of these asset classes in the last 20, 30 years. And this is all based on actual data. Inflation during the same time was 7% per annum. India underwent an inflation of 7% per annum. Bank FD during the same time gave a return of 8% per annum. Gold gave a return of 10% per annum, while stock market or Sensex during the same time gave a return of 17% per annum. They beat all the other asset classes and inflation by a substantially high margin. So 7-year return, even as on 23rd March 2020, that is the COVID market crash date, the large cap equity mutual funds were sitting on a return of 8% per annum returns. So again, every asset class is a secret sauce of investing. Hybrid mutual funds, the secret sauce is you have to stay invested for 3 to 5 years. Equities or stock market or equity mutual funds, the secret sauce is you have to stay invested for 5 to 7 years. I'm not saying stay invested for 20 years, 30 years, 5 to 7 years is good. So how do you reduce your risk, or what are the secret sources of investing into stock market? Extend your time horizon to at least 5 to 7 years. Invest via equity mutual funds. They are professional institutional advice. They help you diversify across companies, sectors, etc. And invest in a staggered way, that is via SIP. And a return of 10 to 12% per annum. 12% per annum is highly achievable over a period of 5 to 7 years. So what are investor expectations? Investor expectations, when I say 12% per annum in stock market, they expect every year will be plus 12, plus 12, plus 12. What actually happens is it will be plus 8, then minus 14, then plus 48, then minus 3, then plus 32, a lot of ups and downs. And then stock markets will give a return of 12%. Generally, after the second year, when the markets have lost, people are sitting on negative capital, we as investment advisors start getting calls. So that is when we remind all our clients that, equity as an asset class, you have to stay invested for 5 to 7 years, and then you can expect an average return of 12% per annum. The best way of investing in equity mutual fund is SIP. SIP is basically reverse of EMI. So fixed amount is automatically deducted from your bank account and it is invested in the mutual fund portfolio that you've chosen. It helps you in averaging the cost. So when markets get expensive, you're still investing. When the markets fall down, you're still investing. You buy more when the markets are cheap. You buy less when the markets are expensive. So you're buying at multiple varied levels in the market, and that helps you in averaging your cost of purchase. And that is why your returns, probability of good returns increases substantially. And this is what CRISIL did a study. CRISIL did the study that in the last 15 years, if you would have invested in equity mutual funds, anybody would have invested in equity mutual funds in the last 15 years, and you would have stayed invested at SIP lasted for at least 5 years, then the probability of negative returns literally reduced to 0. And the best part is, because equity or stock market is the only asset class that can actually generate a return of 12% per annum, the highest of all, the affordability becomes very accessible. It becomes very affordable option to actually save for retirement. Generally, when you're trying to build a passive source of income or a retirement corpus, it is at least 5 to 7 years away. That is why we strongly recommend saving for your retirement via equities. And even in equities, when you're saving for a goal like retirement or creating passive source of income, I would prefer investing via equity mutual funds than going directly via stocks. You can go for stocks if people are already avid investor, you're an avid investor, you have a flair of investing, then you can go for stocks. But for retirement kind of a goal, prefer equity mutual funds. They're a professional institutional way of investing and can actually do better with your money for such important goal like retirement or creating a passive source of income. So coming back to that example, if you still need 4 crores, you're 30 years old, you can take a sigh of relief and you just need to make a monthly investment of 11,500 per month or a lump sum amount of 13.5 lakhs. This is very, very achievable for a person who has a monthly living expense of 20,000-30,000 per month. So for him, this is really achievable. The only thing is consistently stay invested in equity mutual funds, and a return of 12% per annum is highly achievable. The next question people end up asking me is, what is the right age to start? I'm just 30. I haven't even started with my other financial responsibilities. My kids' education is closer to that. Should I not start with that? The right age to start is the earlier, the better. Why? Monthly investment that you need to invest in equity mutual funds to save for your retirement or creating a passive source of income increases substantially, increases exponentially. So this is a U-shaped graph. This is not a straight line. It's a U-shaped graph. So the monthly investment that you need to do every month to factor in for a passive source of income, it increases substantially with rise in age. If you're 25, you just need to invest 8,800 rupees per month. At 55, if you're starting, you'll have to save and invest 90,000 rupees per month. So this is really high. Starting early and cost of delay. So this is what, something really important that, if you're starting early, then even if you, this is a story of basically comparison of two friends. One starts at 25 for his retirement. The other starts at 35 for his retirement. Both end up investing the same amount, 12 lakhs. Friend A, who's younger, who starts at 5,000 rupees per month. Friend B says, I'll start 10 years later, but I'll invest double the amount that you're investing, 10,000 rupees per month. So they both end up investing in the matter of 10 or 20 years. They both end up investing 12 lakhs. But when they're 45, their investment value is almost double. They invested the same, but their value of Mr. A, who started earlier, is much higher. This is because your money could make money. Your interest could earn interest of 12%. The more time it got in the market, the more money or wealth it could actually create for you. So that is why starting early is really, really important, and it is stressed on. Busting two myths before we end the session. One is I'm in my 50s or 60s and hence I should not invest in risky assets. I'm already 50. I hardly have any retirement corpus, or I want to make investments. I should make a conservative bet. So if you're 50, you need to understand the life expectancy in India has actually increased to 80, 85, even 90. Even if you consider it as 85, a lot of expenses that you will need after 60. So from 60 to 80 is 20 years of expenses that you need. So, strong recommendation, whatever expenses or whatever money that you need in the first 5 to 7 years, if you're 50, whatever money that you need till 57, do not invest that in equity mutual funds, but whatever money that you need from 58 to maybe 85, 90, 95, you don't know, and it is not in your hand, how much will you live? That money ideally should be invested in an inflation beating asset class, that is an equity mutual fund. And the same applies for person in 60 also. If you're 60 years old, whatever money that you need from the age of 70 to 90, 95, this is a 20, 25 years kind of living expenses that you need. So there you need to make sure your purchasing power is increasing at least at the same rate of inflation in case of hybrid mutual funds, or increasing better than inflation, that is equity mutual funds. So, that money ideally should be invested in a better investment asset class than a conservative like an bank FD. So busting that myth, don't fall into that age bracket, and don't follow your age bracket and take your investment decisions. More than 70% people are actually investing. They're investing through a random amount of money. 70% of the people are not saving enough for their retirement, and they have a very high probability that they're going to fall short during retirement. So number one responsibility that you have is you need to understand, are you saving and investing enough for your retirement? This is really, really important to know. And number two, then understand, are you investing in the right product? If you already have a mutual fund portfolio, these are some red flags that you should actually see. Number one is, I've seen so many clients having a portfolio of 15, 20 mutual funds. The ideal investment portfolio in mutual funds is not more than 3 to 6 funds. Too less or too many funds in your portfolio is a major red flag. The reason being, if you have 15 to 20 mutual funds, you're basically buying the entire stock market. You've entered into over diversification, which ends up leading you to much lower returns. Number two, not equally distributed amongst mutual fund companies. I've seen so many people, they're working with an agent and an advisor, and he's made them invest 70%, 60% in the funds of SBI, Axis, HDFC, whatever. And the reason being, he earns a higher commission through that. This is not the right way. If you're investing into 4 funds, make sure or try your best that at least you're including 3 to 4 fund houses, so that even if one fund house's investment strategy does not work well in the markets, at least the other 3 actually pull up your portfolio. So ideally, you should have equal distribution amongst mutual fund companies. Do not buy all HDFC funds or ICICI funds. There are 40 plus mutual fund companies in India. So try to diversify across all of them. Thematic or sectorial funds, more than 10 to 15% of your portfolio. So in thematic or sectorial funds are basically pharma funds, banking funds, or MNC funds, all of these. So make sure you're not investing more than 10 to 15% of your investment portfolio in these. The reason being, timing the entry and exit, both is really equally important when you're investing in these funds. And these are high risk, high return kind of funds. So you need to make sure you're investing in the right funds also. With this, we can end the session. This is my last slide. We have a free WhatsApp newsletter. This is a basic education initiative by us. So we regularly, once in a week or not more than, once in 2 weeks, we send you articles on managing your personal finance and making sure your money is working hard enough for you. So we send articles, blogs, videos, podcasts, everything, all of these. How it's a very, very interesting initiative by us. for educating you and upping your personal finance game. How you can join is you can just save this number 9111006340 in your contacts and just send *0 to this contact on WhatsApp. We'll add you to our WhatsApp newsletter. You can stop anytime. We won't share your number. Of course, security things and confidentiality is taken care of. So this is an educational initiative that you can actually participate in. I think, Dr. Gandhi, with this, we can end the session. I'll just hold the screen for a moment. If anybody wants to note down the number, I can put it in the chat box also for later. And Dr. Gandhi, I think we're done with the session.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Arpita ma'am. Dr. Naveen, sir. It's such a nice, excellent. You explain the detail how you manage this fund. So, can I, question sir, can I do after this Dr. Naveen's lecture?
Definitely, no problem, not a problem.
Please, thank you very much. Thank you. I invite Dr. Devani ma'am to introduce our National Honorary Secretary, sir, Dr. Naveen sir, and invite for the lecture. Dr. Devani ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Dr. Naveen sir.
Audible,
Dr. Ganjwala is there. He is a pediatric orthopedic surgeon and based on Ahmedabad, he is a president of Indian Orthopaedic Society. Such a nice
Indian Orthopaedic Society, Pediatric Orthopedic Society of India.
Pediatric Orthopedic Society of India.
Pleasure meeting you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
First of all, I feel sorry for joining a bit late. There was some other important meeting going on, and I thank the two faculty members who have taken over ahead of me and carried on the show. It's always a pleasure to interact with you all, people from Gujarat and nearby states. It has been a very pleasure and historic ISOCON 2021 hosted by Ahmedabad at Gujarat, and very nicely organized by ISA Ahmedabad City Branch and hosted by ISA State Branch. The memories are still vivid in our heart and souls.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Over to you, Dr. Devyani.
Yes, sir. Very good evening and pleasure to have you here. I think Dr. Naveen Malhotra, the Honorary Secretary of our Indian Society of Anesthesiologists, he doesn't need any introduction. He's very enthusiastic, the most energetic and most vibrant person, and the Secretary of Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. He is presently working as Professor Anesthesiology and in charge Pain Management Center at PGIMS, Rohtak, Haryana. I think we have witnessed many changes in ISA in last 2.5 years, like the regular publication of the guidelines on various important topics at a very right time, like the anesthesia for COVID patients or for mucormycosis, then regular online PG classes, then the introduction of UI ISACON, and so many more. So I think we can say in one sentence, the ISA before Naveen Malhotra sir and ISA after Naveen Malhotra sir is totally different. And who better than him can give us the more knowledge about these Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. I warm welcome to this webinar, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Devyani, for such a nice words, and it's an honor and pleasure to listen to them. But I humbly thank it from core of my heart. And for the audience, I must say, Madam has forgotten to tell that she is also one of the very active members of ISA National Task Force. Dr. Hina and Dr. Devyani beside, both are very active members of ISA National Task Force on COVID clinical coordinators. And we also have training coordinators from Gujarat, the team from Vadodara, and Dr. Chetna is also coordinator of ISA Cultural Club and Art and Literary Club. So, and many other are helping us in running the affairs at ISA National by contributing to different programs. So, I'll start I can begin with my greetings from ISA National. I hope my audio and video is clear.
Clear, sir. Loud enough.
And I always, the most important thing which I have gained is your love and your affection. And I'm very happy and proud to be your secretary. I'm not honorary secretary of ISA National. I am your, when somebody calls Hamara secretary, our secretary, Andar se khushi aati. And today we will be talking about our ISA only, right? ये मेरा ISA, ये आपका ISA नहीं है, ये हमारा ISA है, और उसी की कुछ बात करेंगे. And as it has been rightly said that coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. That is the fundamental on which Team ISA is working. Because we firmly believe that if everyone is moving forward together, then success will take care of itself. We all are working together. We all team Ahmedabad, team Gujarat, team ISA National work together, and we had a very successful conference. Dr. Devan, Dr. Badresha, Dr. Atul, Dr. Tarlika, Dr. Hina, Dr. Preeti, many more, they all contributed, and we worked together, and success was automatically there. And the strength of the team is each individual member. Each member is important, and the strength of each member is the team. We coined a term ISCN because identity is always required. Like Indian, ISCN. And we should feel proud to say that I am an ISCN. If something is lacking from our side, it shall be done to make you feel really proud of being a member of ISA, being an ISCN. This is, everything is available on isaweb.in. You can go and see all the activities done by ISA on this website. As of last week, we have now grown to almost touching 37,000 now live membership. And this is the second largest body in the world. And with your support, our target is to achieve 50,000 membership at the earliest. Right now, we are making around 3,000 members per year. And that is because of attraction towards ISA. That is because trust on ISA. As it is rightly said, that to be trusted is a greater compliment than to be loved. If you love me, this is good. But if you trust me, that is the most important compliment, because trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, and ability of someone or something. Trust is the confident belief that this association, this individual, this office bearer will do what is right. He will deliver what is promised and will be same every time, whatever the circumstances may be. And this trust has been because of this backbone, the 200 branches which we have across the country, the 28 state branches and 172 city branches. It is said in ISA circles that any governing council which approves the formation of any state branch is an historic governing council, because the states are limited. So we were fortunate enough to form a Society of Defense Anesthesiologists of ISA. That is our latest state branch to be formed by us in the previous year. For the office bearers, the president and secretary of Ahmedabad, Gujarat, different branches, Vadodara, Rajkot, Surat, Bhavnagar, Jamnagar, Navsari, and Nadiad. You are the leaders, and you are acting. Your actions show that you act. If what you do makes a difference, it really does. Your actions touches each and every member at your city level. A compliment to my office staff also, Mr. Sandeep and Mr. Devansh. They have made the process. We have made the process easy and simple, but they are chasing the applicants. I have told them very clearly that they are all class 1 officers, they are busy anesthesiologists. You try to help them in removing the deficiencies in their membership and approve their membership as early as possible. There were lots of things of conversion from associate life member to life member, inactive to semi-active. Simple thing, go to your member login panel, upload your certificates, and it will be done. And if you're finding some difficulty, you can contact isanhq@gmail.com. That's our website email ID, ISA National Headquarters, isanhq@gmail.com. Or you can simply WhatsApp to 9091 51 51 51. More important for the members, which I should like to tell you, when you are eligible to vote, you are eligible to vote till the date of notification of elections. The notification of national elections is done till on 15th September every year. So those who are life members till 14th September, they're eligible to vote in the subsequent immediate next elections. And the date of notification of state and city elections is 20th June. So those who are life members till 19th June, they can participate in these elections. And when you're able to hold the office, when you have signed at least 3 out of 5 AGBM registers. This is for the national elections. And many of time, faculty members go and attend the conferences, but they don't sign the AGBM register. So whenever you go next, do sign the AGBM registers. You need at least 3 years of membership to cast your to hold office, and at least 3 out of 5 signed AGBM register. You may not sit into the whole AGBM, but at least sign, and then you can move on if you don't want to attend. All those life membership certificates, and they are available on your member login panel, identity card, receipts, everything is there. This is for the office bearers. You get 15% of the membership fee in the one calendar year, one financial year for the city branch, and 10% for the state branch. But for that, you have to submit your internal or CA audited statement every year along with your bank account details. And this money will help you in running different affairs, conducting these webinars and other things. State elections, they are conducted every year from 16th to 20th July. And moving from membership to our IJA. See, this is our Combat Index journal, and there's a lot of hue and cry, sir, journal की कॉपी नहीं मिल रही, सर हमें जर्नल नहीं मिल रहा, सूरत में पीछे प्रॉब्लम हुई, अतुल गांधी और हमने सॉर्ट आउट किया. आपको सब्सक्राइब तो करना पड़ेगा ना. Between every year, between 1st August to 30th September, every year you have to log into your panel and say, I want to subscribe for hard copy. Why? Because you have to update your address. If your address is not updated, there is no PIN code, then this money will go waste. However, online access is free. Still, we are trying that suppose somebody has not subscribed during that period, we help them in subscribing for and that issue of Surat was solved with the help of local office bearers also. There's improved ranking, improved impact factor of the journal, no doubt about that. And we have come with the numerous supplements, the Northern, Central, and this month we are releasing Eastern and Northeastern supplement. And this is all because of the good work done by our beloved late Dr. Lalit Mandiratha, EIC, Indian Journal of Anesthesia, whom we lost a couple of months ago. But his team, ably supported by Dr. Sukhvinder Singh Bajpai, Associate Editor-in-Chief, and the editorial board members, Associate, Assistant, and Section Editors, they have done all of very fabulous work under his able leadership. And I am very sure that his guidance, his good wishes, his blessings are there with us for improving IJ further to take it to new heights. Other activity of our ISA is to hold an annual national conferences. This year we are meeting for our 69th annual national conference in Shillong. You are most welcome to attend this conference as a faculty or as to present paper, poster, and compete in award paper sessions. And this year also we have got our 14th International SARC conference at Kochi, Kerala, and we are also cordially invited to attend our SARC AA 2022, 12th to 14th August 2022. Our welfare scheme, Family Benevolent Fund, it is a social welfare scheme for those members whom we lose early in life, those who get, whom we lose, who die, but this is to support their family members. This is not a term insurance, but this is a social welfare scheme where we contribute around 1,000 rupees every year as a collective thing to give around some corpus money to those members whom we lose in that current year. IRC activities are going on very nicely under the able leadership of Dr. Chakra Rao and ably supported by the members from all over the country, whether it is COLS, BCLS, and CCLS. And guidelines are also published across during the COVID pandemic also. Our ISA is an academic body, and we are focusing on academics. That's the online PG classes, our advisories coming time to time, focusing on improving the ISOCON scientific program, holding ISA online PG quiz and ISA online daily quiz. This year, from next year onwards, this ISA online PG quiz will be named after ISOCON Ahmedabad because we have given the amount for proposal for naming it after Ahmedabad. It's really nice. And this was the brainchild which was started during Ahmedabad conference only. Dr. Diwan, Dr. Sunil Shah, Dr. Hetal Shah, and other members were pitched in, and it was a very nicely conducted runaway success. Then we also have ISA sponsored CMEs, workshops, workshops, PG assemblies, and national webinars. So how to apply for ISA sponsored CME workshops and assemblies? It has to be done. A proposal has to come from city branch office bearers that we want to conduct it, and it is usually, we have never said no in last 4 years to any academic programs. The financial grant for our CME and workshop is 1 lakh rupees. For PG assembly, if it is short 2 days, it is 1.5 lakh rupees. If it is more than that, then it is 2 lakh rupees. And we had numerous webinars during the COVID first and second waves, but nowadays we are doing national webinars less because there's lots and lots of activities happening at city and state webinars. There are master classes, focus sessions, and just like this financial session today. And so we are just holding back because there is a fire among the city and state branches to conduct online programs and academics. And it is, as a national secretary, I feel very happy that academics are going on at all the city and state levels across the country under the banner of ISA. And we are working on uniform PG and UG curriculum to ensure uniform teaching and training across the country. Soon we are going to start ISA skill centers where different hospitals will be established as centers of excellence to give training to the members adjoining their area so that the cost of traveling, cost of staying is cut down. Any proposals from Gujarat, they will be definitely honored. ISA National Task Force on COVID was meeting during the COVID pandemic almost every week, and we all together sat together and formed different guidelines and advisories and position statements and conducting different webinars during COVID first and second wave. There are other guidelines also in addition to COVID, fasting and feeding guidelines and IRC COVID guidelines, and soon we are going to come up with the pre-operative investigation guidelines from ISA in this month only. A private practitioner forum is looking after the interests of the private practitioners, the freelancers, and there are established guidelines where we talk about minimum mandatory standards in operating rooms, PAC, consent, record keeping, and remuneration, the RVG system. So please follow the previous guidelines in letter and spirit. And for that ISA BPF, we've got a special all by myself award session. And we're also working on separation of anesthesia charges in DPA and CGHS schemes. UISA is a program which is dedicated. I am personally looking after it. I'm very happy about that. It's taking care of the interests of members who are less than 40 years of age, and it includes both PGs, SRs, young consultants, and private practitioners. And we will be having soon second UA ISOCON 2022, preferably in the month of October at Rohtak, Haryana, and physical mode. All of you are requested to participate in that. For others, we have got Dr. B.B. Mishra Young Anesthesiologist Award, Dr. M.T. Bhatia Award we started in Ahmedabad, Dr. M.T. Bhatia Young Pain Physician Award, ISA Trinity Talent Award, ISA Online PG Quiz, ISA Neon Inland International Fellowship, and the Best Poster and Best Paper Medal and Traveling Grants. We are requested to contribute to the faculty pool. 10 to 15% speakers in ISOCON are first-time speakers, and we ensure that 15 speakers are less than 40 years of age. So we're giving chance to the new speakers also and to the young speakers also during ISOCONs at the national level. There are ISA endorsed insurance schemes also in the field of professional indemnity, health, COVID care, and you are free to choose. We are not selling these schemes, we are endorsing in these schemes. You compare it with your existing policy. If you find them good, you can go for it. Our legal cell is very, very active. We are focusing on NEET super specialty critical care medicine eligibility exam, eligibility of anesthesiology for cardiology, gastroenterology for super specialty, and other aspects also. We are taking care of our members who are involved in some certain court cases also by giving them advices and legal backup. We are working with different societies, WFSA, RCOA, SARC, IMA, ICCN, OMAG, ICHA, FOXI, Indian Orthopaedic Association, and soon we'll like to interact with Pediatric Orthopaedic Association also, whose president we are interacting today, so that we all work together in the betterment of patient safety and welfare. All the activities of ISA are published in the newsletter, the ISCM. We have got very, very active ISA cultural club also, where the members showcase their talent in the singing and instrument music and even some dances also. And Art and Literary Club focuses on the inherent culture of art galleries and writing, poems, photography, etc. Innovation Cell takes care of the innovations. Yes, Dr. Preet Patwa and Dr. Shah has done lots of innovations, how to get them patented. They guide the members, how to promote these things, how to market these things. These are all activities done under ISA Innovation Cell. We are also focusing on Fit and Anesthesiologist campaign, not only physical, but also mental, spiritual, and substance abuse also. A social outreach program, we are focusing on compassion-only life supports, Environment Day celebrations, and different public awareness programs. It's like motivating people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior. This is our ISA public awareness flyer, which is available on ISA website. It talks about know your anesthesiologist and know about anesthesia. You can translate it into your local languages and put it in your PSC or in your PSC clinics or in your hospital notice board, where public can see it and know about you and the anesthesia also. We are taking care of experience and wisdom from our past HODs in the ISA HOD Noble Club, who guide us about their wisdom, how to go forward. And also it is requested to present HODs also that there should be some focus on do's and don'ts of our practice in the post-PG curriculum. You should invite your local practitioners and our bearers of ISA to PG classes so that they can tell about what are the how you have to work in as a freelancer or as a private practitioner. Then definitely they can guide on the different medical boards also, which are different medical boards are now formed where the members of faculty go. They can really help their colleagues in legal matters. Financial advisor has this session. We are focusing on a second source of income, that we should have a second source of income, second source of legal income. ऊपर की कमाई नहीं होनी चाहिए, मेहनत की कमाई होनी चाहिए, प्लान्ड कमाई होनी चाहिए, तो वही फलती फूलती है. कि अगर मेहनत की कमाई होती है और इज्जत की कमाई होती है, वो 1 का 4 होती है, 4 का 40 होती है. So you can have it from, as Dr. Arpita was talking about, different sources, whether it is agricultural land, financial investments, partnerships, real estate, whatever you want to do, you can go for that. You have listened to this in the last 45 minutes or so. And definitely money begets money. So definitely, and who best to handle the money than Gujaratis? I have learned so much from Bhadresh how to handle the money. And he is master of the things and how to save money and how to earn money. So you are the best people in that. Money management, Arpita, you should not teach them. You should take some tips from them if you're not a Gujarati. Right? They're the perfect people about handling the money.
100%. Completely agree.
And we have to do the also, whether it is academic, financially, socially, and personally, for the best spokespersons of our departments, the postgraduates. So we have to take care of them in thick and thin. And for that, we have got our ISA Mentorship Academy. And different awards and sessions for the academic awards, clinical awards, branch awards. They're all available on ISA website in award and nomination sessions. Please do apply for them. Last year, lots and lots of awards were won by Gujarat and different city branches of Gujarat. And there are education scholarship, 25,000 per candidate, 20 grants per year. Those who are really needy students, you please support them with this scholarship. And skill centers I have discussed. And why we need skill centers, why we need good anesthesiologists is because we want that they should have everything in them. They should be able to observe, record, tabulate, and communicate. They should use their all five senses, maybe the sixth sense. They should be transparent, informative, honest, confident, caring, and competent in knowledge. and their social and communication skills, and they should be showing respect to their patients, to their teachers, to their colleagues. And this is for, if you want to learn some skills, then you will have to take some break from your routine things, because it is rightly said that if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to disappear for a while. Take a break, learn that skill and come back. That will improve your clinical practice. ISA e-calendar with all the important dates are mentioned. Please remember those dates and fill in your application form for all the awards and nominations. And we have launched our ISA app and national registry. In national registry, it's a confidential thing. You please report what you are doing daily. It is 5-6 column only. We have taken help from Dr. Sunil Shine developing it. It is a very basic version. You enter it is totally confidential. No need to enter the name of the patient, the sex, the procedure from type of anesthesia done, and whether it was eventful or uneventful. That will create your own record also and will create ISA record also. FNB Pain Medicine has started, and soon this year we will be having NEET super specialty exam in a couple of months. And as it's a personally gratifying for me, because as a convener of Specialist Board of Anesthesiology and National Board of Examination in Medical Sciences, me and my team were instrumental in starting this course and designing its curriculum. And we are happy that it is seeing the light in this year. One thing, very, very common thing is that my personal request, please don't put pictures with glasses on Facebook and social media, because your patients, your parents, your relatives are there on this media. And we're not saying that drinking or smoking is good or bad, but our role models, they have never put their pictures like this in the social media. Same way, as a governing council, we have taken decisions that no office bearer will put such a thing on Facebook and social media, whenever you're in official meetings, governing council meetings, like that. And finally, we are working to make ISA, what is it in the preamble, a non-political organization. An organization with no regional divide, east, west, north, south, nothing. It's an academic body, clinical body dedicated to research and social welfare of its member. I always say, please never request me, don't do his or her work. Tell me, do my work. So I always want to have green feedback from you, no red feedback from you. Don't do his or her work. It has been rightly said that it is easy to associate, difficult to associate. So we are working together because we firmly believe in union there is strength, united we stand, divided we fall. And finally, we are also working on ISA physical status grading, ISA virtual museum, Indian history of anesthesia, history of ISA and its branches, ISA National Register Office we are inaugurating on 14th and 15th. And for that only I was having the online meeting, which got delayed, and I had to request the speakers ahead of me to take charge. And I also want to promote that all branch offices, there should be a branch office. Ahmedabad should have its office, Vadodara should have its office, Rajkot should have its office. Because once you will meet, initial 3-4 meetings you will fight. Then you will start agreeing to each other. Then you will start prospering together. So this is the phases. So have your office at Ahmedabad, at Malhotra, where you can meet at least once in a month. And we are also working for changing the nomenclature from anesthesiology to anesthesiology and critical care. And definitely this is a Platinum Jubilee celebration year. Please conduct, I request each branch should conduct at least one program, maybe more, whether academic, whether workshop, whether CME, whether PG assembly, whether sports event, whether cultural event, whether art and literary event, whether debate, public awareness program, walkathon, runathon, anything. The medallions and certificates will be given complimentary from the ISA National, and some financial grant will also be given to you. Try to do these in coming months of June, July, August, September, October, because on 15th and 16th October, there will be a national level Platinum Jubilee celebrations, which a National Secretary will be doing it in Haryana, and all ISA state and city branch office bearers will be invited to that Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Please take care that you are lucky, we are lucky that we are sitting in office when the Platinum Jubilee celebrations are there. Next century celebrations will be done after 25 years. So utilize this opportunity and mark your name in the history in golden letters. To summarize, for recognition, two things are important. You have to choose quantity or quality of work. But it is rightly said, run after quality, quantity will automatically increase. Have passion for whatever you do. Always keep on thinking what you want to achieve and you will get it. The only requirement is your intent should be good. अगर आपकी नीयत साफ है तो भगवान भी आपका साथ देगा और सारी कायनात आपको वो चीज दिलवा के रहेगी. And the 3 mantras for being successful is honesty. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom, and it was, is, and will always remain the best policy. Second mantra is sincerity. The secret of success is sincerity. And third is hard work. Success is sweet, but the secret is sweat. And as our past National President APJ Abdul Kalam has said, if you want to shine like a sun, first we have to burn like a sun. So follow these 3 mantras: honesty, sincerity, and hard work. Success will be yours. And this is for the team ISA. To succeed in your mission, you must have a single-minded devotion to your goal. And excellence is a continuous process, not an accident. You have to work continuously with honesty, sincerity, and hard work. I conclude my talk by saying, सामने हो मंजिल तो रास्ता न मोड़ना. सामने हो मंजिल तो रास्ता न मोड़ना. जो मन में हो ख्वाब उसे मत तोड़ना. हर कदम पे मिलेगी कामयाबी तुम्हें. हर कदम पे मिलेगी कामयाबी तुम्हें. ISA, ISCN, बस सितारों को छूने के लिए कभी जमीन को मत छोड़ना. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We have the Arpita, any question for that? We can conclude the session.
If you want, we can take the Q&A session as you say.
Rasesh, sir.
Yes, Atul. But Devyani, Dr. Devyani, you want to make any comment? We had a very great lecture from Dr. Naveen Malhotra.
Yes, it was wonderfully explained, and sir.
मुझे पहले नंबर किया था, आपकी अटेंडेंस कम हो गई. Yes, madam.
Honestly, let me tell you, we are Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We are celebrating the very important year, as you rightly said. Next will come only after 25 years, where I don't know, many of us may not be around that time. And ISA is very little younger than the independent India. But honestly, I'm not flattering Dr. Naveen Malhotra and to anybody else. But in the last 2.5 years, the changes we have seen, we have ourselves come to know how big and how great the ISA is. And the number of activities we have added, and particularly the COVID time, I am yet to see a person like Dr. Naveen Malhotra who has utilized the electronic platform so much. So it's a great ISA years we had, even during COVID times. And I'm sure it will progress very well under your leadership and your many more leadership to come from Naveen Malhotra also in future years. So it's really great, the changes we have seen in last 2.5 years. And Devyani had rightly said when she introduced yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.
सर मैं ऐड करना चाहता हूँ कि जब भी हम जाते थे ड्यूरिंग कॉन्फ्रेंस कि अभी आपको रजिस्टर करना है, न्यू मेंबर्स बनाना है, तो तुरंत ही विदाउट एनी हेजिटेट, विदाउट एनी मनी चार्जेस कि कितना रुपीस है वो कोई भी पूछता नहीं था, नहीं हमको ISA का मेंबर बनना है. दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द ग्रेजुअली इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ फैकल्टीज एंड नंबर ऑफ इनोवेटिव प्लान. तो इसके लिए सब लोग अभी इंटरेस्टेड है. पहले लोग बहुत पुराने आज से 5 साल पहले तो पूछते थे कि ISA का मेंबर क्यों बनना है, कुछ करते नहीं है. नाउ इज अ डिफरेंट पॉट. अभी तो पूरा टॉपिक ही डिफर गया. अभी मैं सिविल हॉस्पिटल में गया था, फिर LG में वहां पे गया था, तो सब लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं ISA का मेंबर तो हमको फर्स्ट ईयर में बनना है. दैट इज द नाउ डिफरेंस विदिन 3 years.
सर ने लिख दिया ना योर सेक्रेटरी.
थैंक्स टू डॉक्टर नवीन सर.
नवीन सर ने बोला योर सेक्रेटरी, दैट मींस ही हैज टच्ड कॉर्नर टू कॉर्नर.
यस, या.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Naveen, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Arpita, can I explain about covered call?
So I wanted to understand in what respect and what background is your question basically. So, I can talk about what are covered calls, how do you...
I have a Tisco's covered head call is 750 cents.
I'm sorry, your voice is breaking.
Tisco share have 750 covered in covered call. So can I put 750 in one bundle? For it's maybe 8 January, 10 January. That is certain limit. 10 rupees, 15 rupees.
So I am not allowed to give any personal recommendations here. Like
I'm not going to personal share. But is it can you explain detail about the covered call?
So basically, covered calls come in under, investing. When you're investing into, it is one of the investment product. It is a very interesting investing product. But, Dr. Gandhi, it's a little, technical. So let's take it over a personal call. I would request, let's keep the questions here, maybe restricted to the, session that we're talking about today.
Thank you.
I would rather suggest that you have suggested to make that via WhatsApp messaging system.
Yes.
That is personalized, so you can utilize that.
Okay. So, can I conclude the session?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
I am Dr. Atul Gandhi, Secretary Gujarat State Branch. Thanks to all my speakers, Dr. Naveen sir, Dr. Dhiren Ganjwala sir, and Arpita ma'am. Such a nice and suggestive and informative lectures, and sparing your valuable time for the busy schedule. I also wish to show my gratitude to our President, Dr. Preeti Patel, Dr. Rasesh Diwan sir, Dr. Devyani ma'am, Dr. Hina, Dr. Badres, and for their support and guidance. Due credit has to be given to Nilesh Mitra for their valuable support and backup for the webinar, especially the Harshit Prize. And also Rahul for delivering this webinar in OrthoTV. This I think the Gujarat for first time, OrthoTV and NSSA TV on YouTube. I also thank for all participants for boosting of our spirit by their participation. Last but not least, the technical team also deserve credit for making the webinar possible. Give suggestion for webinar and see me on my personal WhatsApp. Do take care, very good care of you. Good night. Good night to all. Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you so much.